Chosen one, God has announced critical days for you. Listen, it's happening. God has spoken clearly in the Spirit. Critical days have been announced for you. This is not just a season off change, but a stretch of days that carry divine weight, divine urgency, and divine direction. These are not ordinary times. You are not in ordinary alignment. These are the days that were set aside before time began. There are divine instructions already being released in the atmosphere, and only those who are tuned in, those with ears to hear and hearts to obey, will understand what's really happening. You are one of them. These are the critical days that were marked with your name. The clock has started. God is moving. Stay with me until the end of this video. There's something about listening through that stir the universe. I challenge heaven's promises with your present actions. And write your warmest wishes and type 99 in the comments below. This is how we amplify the moment. This is how we declare into the atmosphere that we are in agreement with the energy of what's happening, that we are not missing this divine movement. Chosen one, God has announced critical days for you. Listen, it's happening now. Chosen one, like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. What if I told you that not every date on the calendar is equal in the spirit? Not every sunrise holds the same spiritual charge. Some days are portals, some days are divine intersections. Some days have been charged by the breath of God Himself, sealed with purpose, timed with precision, and revealed only to those who are awake. Chosen one, you're not in just any season. You're standing in one of those critical alignments, and God is letting you know in advance, so you don't miss the doors that are about to open, the instructions that are about to fall, and the favor that is going to rise upon your life. These are not normal days. These are decision days. These are redefining days. And here's what many people miss. They keep trying to live regular lives in days that have already been shifted by divine power. They're trying to walk through routines while God is restructuring timelines. They're repeating yesterday's habits when today demands a prophetic step. But not you, not now. God is calling you out of that unconscious cycle. These critical days were not designed for you to coast. They were designed for you to climb. You have to look again at the signs around you. Look again at the urges in your spirit. Look again at the things that won't leave your mind. That's not coincidence. It's confirmation. God is not asking you to be perfect right now, but He is asking you to be present in spirit, present in obedience, present in listening. The atmosphere around you is shifting. What was once locked is being tested. What was once hidden is being revealed. God is highlighting divine instructions, divine resources, divine partners, and you must be in the right place mentally and spiritually to see it. These are the days where what you do matters more than what you say. Your obedience is your alignment. Your surrender is your strategy. There's something beautiful happening in the silence of these days. If you're still enough, you'll begin to notice that heaven is speaking through signs. That delay isn't just delay. It's divine pacing. That silence isn't absence. It's preparation. God is reordering what has seemed chaotic. He's pulling threads together in the background that you can't yet see. The critical days ahead are filled with what looks like nothing on the outside, but are flooded with sacred code on the inside. If you can feel the tension, you're in the right place. Don't run from it. Read it. Chosen one. Your spirit is being summoned. These days are not just about events. They are about emergence. Something in you is being summoned to the surface. Something in you that has been dormant, dismissed, or disregarded. It's now time for it to rise. You've felt the pressure. You've seen the patterns. You've noticed the repetition. That's God awakening a divine core that's been covered by years of survival, fear, or self-doubt. These critical days are designed to reveal the version of you that your calling cannot function without. Let me speak this clearly to you. You are about to make decisions that change generations. That's how serious this moment is. You're not just deciding for you. You're stepping into days that carry the weight of legacy, the impact of lineage, and the fulfillment of prophecy. This isn't about temporary success. It's about eternal sequence. God has set these days apart so that you would step into what He already designed and leave behind what no longer matches your anointing. It's time to drop the disguise. It's time to rise with clarity. And yes, not everyone will understand this. Urgency you feel, they'll say, "What's the rush?" or "Why now?" But listen to your spirit over their logic. The frequency that God is moving on right now isn't understood by the casual. It's caught by the surrendered. There's a sound in the spirit, a pulsing rhythm calling you to move, to build, to believe, to become. Don't try to explain it. Don't try to justify it. Just align with it. You didn't need their permission to obey God's timing. You've waited long. Enough. You've doubted long enough. And now these critical days are a divine countdown, not to destruction, but to destiny. You may have thought the delay was denial. But God was actually just preparing you for the weight of what's next. Because what's next is not small. What's next will require a new discipline. What's next will demand deeper faith. What's next is calling for your full attention. These days are setting you up for what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. That's why you felt the pressure increase. That's why everything feels intensive. The moment you're in is not punishment, it's preparation. These critical days are days of divine reversal. Get ready for the unusual to happen quickly. Get ready for what was blocked to break open. Get ready for sudden instruction, supernatural clarity, and divine rerouting. You may have planned something, but heaven is planning something better. The interruption is divine. The redirection is holy. Don't mourn the path that is shifting. Celebrate the path that is occurred. The calendar may look the same, but the Spirit knows these days are not ordinary. Your assignment is being elevated. Your spirit is being stirred and your obedience is being tested. These days will teach you more about yourself than the last 10 years combined. If you lean in, if you listen carefully, if you walk humbly, you will emerge from this window stronger, clearer, and more aligned than you've ever been. These critical days are not just markers in time. They are spiritual thresholds. And once you pass through, there's no going back to who you were. It's already happening. The signs are surrounding you. The synchronicities, the confirmations, the strange feelings, they are all pointing to this. God has announced these days for you, so don't treat them casually. Don't waste them with worry. Don't numb them with distraction. Live them with expectation. Walk in them with intentionality. And move through them with the boldness of someone who knows heaven is watching, angels are guiding, and miracles are aligning. This is not your imagination. This is not just another motivational moment. This is sacred. This is strategic. This is spiritual. And you are ready. There is something about divine timing that cannot be manipulated, forced, or fabricated. It arrives not when your circumstances seem ready, but when your spirit is ripe. That is the hour you are in. This is not a countdown to chaos. It's a countdown to calling. The heavens have whispered your name into the rotation of sacred events. You are on the list. Your obedience has been scheduled. Your breakthrough has been timed. And now each passing moment is moving you into closer alignment with that divine collision between your preparation and God's proclamation. These are not casual moments, chosen one. These are marked days. They are days that carry keys. Some keys will open doors you've been knocking on for years. Others will lock away chapters that no longer serve your future. But you have to be spiritually alert to catch it. You must be grounded in clarity and untangled from emotional noise, because the enemy knows these are critical days too, and he will try to cloud what God is confirming. He will try to delay what God has accelerated. That is why stillness is a weapon right now. Discernment is gold. Prayer is your pulse. There are patterns emerging in your life right now that were once invisible. Conversations are echoing things you just dreamed about. Numbers, dates, symbols, and sudden shifts. They're not just random. They are all heavenly breadcrumbs pointing you to one truth. You're no longer wandering. You're walking directly into a season that was authored by divine intelligence. You didn't have to make it happen. You only have to stay aligned. The blueprint has already been drawn. And in these critical days, don't be surprised if people start falling away. The pressure of divine responsibility. You'll notice their absence, but you won't miss their energy. Because in this space, God is giving you something higher. Revelation, strength, foresight, purity. These are not the days to grieve what left. These are the days to guard what's rising. And yes, you will feel it physically too. You may notice that your body is more sensitive, that you feel more tired, more emotional, more awake at strange hours. That's because your vessel is being tuned. Your cells are adjusting to what your soul already knows. Something divine is happening. And when spirit and body come into agreement, you move with more confidence, more clarity, and more courage. So don't fight the shifts, flow with them. Your spirit is calibrating for the assignment that is unfolding now. The environment around you will start whispering confirmation. Doors you didn't knock on will start creaking open. People you never imagined being connected to will start showing up. Information will flow to you in the most unexpected ways. This is how the heavens operate in critical days. They speak through signs, systems, and supernatural setup. You'll know it's God, not because it's easy, but because it's precise. There's a divine sharpness to this moment. You won't have to beg. You won't have to chase. You'll just have to recognize. There's a reason you've been pulled away from the noise. There's areas in your appetite for distraction has been stripped. God has isolated you so you can hear clearly. You're not being left behind. You're being brought closer. You're not forgotten. You're being prepared. You're not disconnected. You're being protected from anything that would distort the signal. This is a holy silencing, a divine focus. God is turning down everything around you so He can raise up everything inside you. Be mindful of what you say during these days. Your words carry extra weight. You're standing in a season where the spiritual atmosphere is charged, and what you release verbally sets things in motion. Don't speak from fear. Don't declare from doubt. Declare from faith. Even when you feel unsure, even when you'll feel shaky, speak what God has shown you, not what fear wants to feed you. These are the days where declarations are doorways. You're going to notice how fast things accelerate once you step into obedience. What seemed far away will suddenly appear right in front of you. People who had no awareness of your journey will begin to acknowledge your presence. Opportunities you thought you missed will start circling back. That's the nature of divine timing. When it's time, it's time. And there's no force that can unwrite what God has already decided. But make no mistake, chosen one, obedience will cost you. It may cost you approval. It may cost you routine. It may cost you comfort. But it will deliver something far more valuable, divine alignment. These are not the days to play small. These are the days to take strategic risks, to trust your spirit more than your senses, to walk forward even if the ground beneath you is still forming. Your footsteps have been marked. Your pace has been prepared. There are whispers in the spirit that only you will understand. Visions that make no sense to others but bring clarity to you. Don't dismiss them. Write them down. Speak them out. Honor what God is showing you. Even if others laugh or leave, these are sacred days. This is a spiritual unveiling. And only those who are awake in soul will see the fullness of what is unfolding. You might not realize it now, but you're standing in the doorway of divine decision. Everything around you is responding to this timing. From relationships to resources, from dreams to deadlines, that's why some things are breaking and others are building. That's why you've been sensing both urgency and peace, because God is closing what doesn't match your calling and releasing what does. It's all happening now. The shift is not coming. The shift is here. The heavens are not quiet. They're speaking loudly. In divine code. Through encounters, interruptions, delays, and desires, they're all arrows pointing to truth. Your days have arrived. What you prayed for, waited for, cried over, fasted through. It's now swirling in the atmosphere, seeking a landing place in your life, but you must stay in position. You must remain available, flexible, and obedient. Let no voice convince you that you are mistaken. Let no timeline convince you that it's too late. Let no failure convince you that it's over. These days have been announced not to tease you but to transform you. God doesn't waste announcements. When heaven speaks, the earth must shift. And since your name was called, you must move like someone who is expected, walk like someone who is watched by angels, Breathe like someone who is backed by heaven. You're not crazy, you're not dramatic, you're not reaching. You're receiving. You've been entrusted with a knowing that many never tap into, the sensitivity to feel divine momentum. That's what these days carry. That's why you've been stirred, that's why nothing feels the same. Because you are not in the same spiritual place. You've outgrown the old level. The divine timeline has been activated. And what's beautiful is this. You won't have to force the doors open, they will respond to the weight of your presence. Because you are the key, not your perfection, not your resume, not your popularity. Your obedience is the key. Your heart is the key. Your surrender is the key. In these days, God is revealing that the door was never locked. It was simply waiting for the right version of you to show up. So pause for a moment and talk these in. You've made it to the part of your life that once only existed in dreams. You're not waiting to be worthy. You're walking because God already called you worthy. You're not seeking approval. You've already been approved, and now it's time to live as someone who's been marked by heaven. These critical days are not just days of external change, but of internal realignment. The transformation God is orchestrating in your mindset before it ever reaches your circumstances. And if you're truly honest with yourself, you've already been feeling the shifts. Thoughts you no longer entertain. Fears that used to paralyze you now pass like clouds. And desires that once consumed you no longer carry the same weight. These are not accidents. They are sacred signs. It means your inner world is catching up to the vision God placed inside you long ago. And now the outside world must adjust accordingly. You have been assigned to a divine countdown. And that countdown has begun ticking in the unseen. Not everyone can hear it, but you can feel it. This is why nothing feels quite the same. This is why your soul has been restless. Why your spirit has been sensitive, and why your discernment has sharpened unexpectedly. The tension is not proof of a problem, it's proof of preparation. The unseen realm has recognized the time, the clock of destiny has begun. And you are Theon. It's calling into position. God has declared these days because He wants you to move with knowledge, not confusion. He wants you to walk with awareness, not assumption. You are not being thrown into the unknown without wisdom. You are being elevated into the unfamiliar with guidance. He's already given you more than you realize. That's why you've been noticing things more deeply. Patterns in people, cycles in decisions, clarity in your convictions. You're not who you were. You're not thinking like you used to. You're being prepared to govern what is about to come. The weight of these days is not punishment. It's power being handed to you piece by piece so that your character can carry your calling. You see, chosen one, an unprocessed blessing becomes a burden, but a blessing that arrives in sync with your spiritual maturity becomes fuel. That's what these days are doing. Building your soul's muscles to carry the weight of divine favor without collapsing under it. There's a divine rhythm in your life now that you must protect. Don't let unnecessary noise ruin your flow. Don't let comparison disrupt your clarity. Don't let doubt dominate your decisions. This is not the time to second guesses what you've already been shown. The download has been delivered. The blueprint has been imprinted. What you do now determines how swiftly and how deeply the next levels of favor will manifest. Some people will see you stepping out boldly and think you've lost your mind. But you haven't. You've simply found your timing. You've synchronized with something they can't sense. They don't see the hours you've spent in silence. They don't feel the sacred weight behind your stillness. They don't understand that when God speaks directly to the soul, it becomes impossible to go back to living like nothing is sacred. And this is sacred. These days are not just transitional. They are transformational. They are more than change. They are the birthing of purpose, calling, divine clarity, and spiritual authority. This is when you begin to walk in rooms. Not to be noticed, but to shift the atmosphere. This is when you're rush, I just need to flow. A knowing that recognizes that heaven is arranging things behind the scenes. And your job is not to manipulate the order, but to step in when the signal comes. And it is coming. The divine is whispering clarity into your decisions. It is not about making the biggest leap. It's about making the right one. One step in divine timing can produce more than 10 years of struggle. And this is what these days are about. They are about compressing your destiny into concentrated moments. What used to take months will happen in days. What used to require a push will respond to your presence. Watch closely now. These days will come with tests disguised as distractions. The enemy knows he cannot stop what God has already written, but can attempt to distract you from seeing it. This is why you must stay rooted, not reactive, not impulsive. Not overwhelmed, rooted in truth, rooted in awareness. Rooted in the knowing fate variety happening around you is a reflection of what God is about to release through you. You don't need Touch's confirmation, it's chasing you. All you need is to stay in flow, stay in faith, stay in tune. Everything that once made you question your value will now confirm your worth. Everything that tried to delay your progress will now amplify your speed. Everything that seemed like confusion will become clarity in disguise. These are the days where divine reversal becomes public revelation. Don't be surprised if what you lost is returned. But when it returns, it will come back renewed, refined, and reshaped. That's the beauty of divine timing. It never restores things to their old form. It returns them in a way that matches your current growth. That's why you're being stretched. That's why the old no longer fits. That's why you can't pretend anymore. Because what's coming requires full alignment, not partial performance. There are sacred assignments coming to you in whispers, in dreams, in moments of random stillness. Don't dismiss them. Write them down. Pray over them. Because these instructions are like seeds, small, but filled with harvest. And if you honor them, if you move with reverence, they will open doors no one thought could be opened. These are not just ideas, they are instructions from heaven. And don't be shocked if your environment starts rejecting your presence. It's not you. It's your elevation that offends the average. Your spirit is rising. Your frequency is shifting. Your words are carrying more spiritual weight. People around you can feel the change even if they can't name it. And some will retreat. Some will challenge it. But a few, the divine ones, will be drawn in and they are part of your next.
The heavens
Have announced this timing to those who carry spiritual antennas. That includes you. That's why you've been feeling more, seeing deeper, moving differently. You're not under pressure. You're under purpose. You're not being overwhelmed. You're being organized by God. He is putting things in place both in your life and within your soul. And once it all sinks, everything will shift fast. Don't measure this moment by what you can explain. Measure it by what you can sense. God doesn't speak in logic. He speaks in alignment. And if something feels off, it is. Trust it. If something feels magnetic, lean in. These are not days to ignore nudges. These are days to follow flow, to obey in real time. Because God is speaking through moments more than ever before, through encounters, interruptions, and even mistakes. All of it is pointing to your path. This is your season of divine choreography. Everything is moving in sequence. Even the things that look random are being synchronized. Your steps are matching divine rhythms. Your heart is syncing with heavenly plans and your name is being mentioned in places your feet haven't touched yet. It's not about being ready in the eyes of the world. It's about being ready in the eyes of God, and you are. This moment in your life is not random. This week, this day, even this hour, it's been carved out from eternity. Heaven has placed you in the flow of divine precision. And if everything happening around you is a part of the orchestration, nothing is wasted. Nothing is too small to be used. Not even your doubts, your delays, or your detours. The divine script is larger than your fear and more patient than your panic. God has already written a path that makes your past make sense. But the clarity will only come when you continue walking forward. In these critical days, one of the greatest battles will be the temptation to explain spiritual things to unspiritual men. But chosen one, you must resist the urge to shrink your revelation to fit Samia Niels's understanding. You were never called to be understood by everyone. You were called to be obedient. And in this divine hour, obedience will be louder than applause. God will speak in ways that make no sense until the results show up. You may not get immediate validation, but Yah will get supernatural fruit. Trust that there will be divine nudges that interrupt your plans. Embrace them because the more tuned in you become, the less control you'll need. When you walk with God, control is not peace. Surrender is. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to move when the Spirit says move. Don't try to force the old strategy onto a new season. That's how people miss divine timing. What worked before may not work now. And that's okay. These are days of innovation, days of reinvention, days where God is doing a new thing through you. And you may feel isolated at times, but that isolation is not abandonment. It is consecration. God has hidden you for this moment. Not because He forgot about you, but because it was preparing you in silence. You are coming out of the cave now. Not weaker, but wiser, not smaller, but sharper. The world doesn't see what was built in the dark, but it will witness the results in the light. These critical days are your emergence. This is not your breakdown. This is your coming. There are divine assignments hovering in the atmosphere, waiting for someone in alignment to pick them up. And you, because of your posture, your process, and your obedience, are being trusted with them. These are not just opportunities. These are spiritual missions. Heaven knows your name, your heart, your history, and yet you were still chosen, still appointed, still anointed. This timing isn't a reward. It's a responsibility, and you're ready for it. Even if you don't feel like it yet, God does not call the most confident. He calls the most surrendered. And your surrender in this season will speak louder than your skill. He's not looking for the perfect. He's looking for the available. And in these critical days, your availability is your greatest weapon. You don't need a platform. You need presence. You don't need influence. You need instruction. The rest will follow. The favor will find you. The doors will open. But first, you must follow. The pressure you've been under was never to break you. It was to birth you. What you thought was opposition was really opportunity dressed in disguise. The enemy only attacks what is rising. And if your warfare has increased, it's because your calling is rising. Don't fear the battle. Understand it? The resistance is not rejection. It's redirection. It's confirmation that something powerful is unfolding. You're being prepared for moments that haven't even entered your imagination. That's why you felt uncomfortable. That's why old dreams are fading and new ones are forming. You're evolving, shedding layers, releasing identities that were never truly yours. God is returning you to the original blueprint that He designed before the world got its hands on you. These critical days are returning you to your core. Don't fight the shedding. It's necessary. Your clarity is dangerous to the enemy because once you truly see who you are, you become unstoppable. That's why confusion has been swirling. That's why distractions have increased, but you are now stepping into a level of focus that cuts through all of it. You're not here to react. You are here to respond to divine cues. You are not here to follow the crowd. You are here to follow the cloud. That's what separatists chosen from the comfortable. And as you walk through these critical days, listen closely to what brings you peace. That peace is not just emotion, it's confirmation. If something drains your spirit, subtracts your clarity, and confuses your conviction, it's not of God in this season. But if something breathes life into your vision, awakens your faith, and anchors your trust, even if it scares you, it's likely from heaven. Learn to trust the difference. These days require discernment, not approval. Expect divine interruptions. You may have made a plan, but God's path is the plan. That change in schedule, that delay, that missed call, all of it may be heavenly choreography. Don't complain about it. Ask God what it's protecting you from or preparing you for. He sees what you can't. And these days are filled with unseen mercies that you'll only recognize in hindsight.